I felt really scared.
I don't belong.
I didn't know how I was gonna pay the bills.
I had missed it.
I had enough fun, and it wasn't fun anymore.
I completely lost it.
I just don't know how to live.
I'm gonna die.
I saw the gun.
Sharks, I haven't really been scared of them.
Found myself assigned to the Pentagon.
I find work on the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
I became a prostitute. I went on a couple calls. I brought home a nice wad of money. My boyfriend was there. And I set my purse on the table, and he told me to break myself. And I said, "What did you say to me?" He said, "Break yourself."
I got in a verbal confrontation with a guy I played basketball with, and I thought it was gonna be just that, a verbal confrontation.
Halloween of 2003, we were just surfing, waiting for waves, and I was kind of sitting out further than everyone else.
September 11, 2001 rolls in. It's 8:40 in the morning, and I'm standing by this fax machine trying to send some documents out to one of our offices in Philadelphia, when I hear this incredible explosion.
In the morning of September 11th, I'm 7 or 8 steps out when Flight 77 has deliberately crashed at the Pentagon.
He said, "Break yourself." And that means give me all your money, dump your purse out on my lap. And I wasn't having it because I was risking my life every night.
It escalated. I threw up my guards thinking we were going to fight, and he pulled out a .357 Magnum.
This plane had just come crashing into the World Trade Center. The building starts shaking violently. Fire breaks out all around us. We hear an explosion. This is the second plane crashing into the second tower.
I'm thrown around, tossed around like a rag doll inside, set ablaze. I was burned on 60% of my body, with about 40% being third-degree burns.
He choked me in the kitchen and then drugged me out by my hair to the back, threw me on the porch, and he started kicking me. "This is pimpin' B. I don't know what you thought what time it is, but what time it is now is you're gonna pay me, whether you like it or not."
Within a split second, the shark came and took my arm, and I didn't really have time to think.
I guess the first shot was so deafening, I don't even recall hearing the trigger being pulled 3 times.
I come down 81 floors of the North Tower. I see hundreds of bodies of people that jumped out of the buildings. I'm trying to reach my wife. My wife worked on the other tower, but cell phones just wouldn't work.
Him and his friends cut all my hair off, stripped me completely nude, spit on me.
You can see flesh hanging off the arms. My fellow comrades each grab a limb and go to pick me up, but I don't come with them. They pull chunks off of me, and I begin screaming at them to leave me alone. I lay there pleading with the Lord to finish what terrorists had started, pleading for the mercy of death.
I just remember getting shot in my shoulder, in my neck, and my hand. I guess I was instantly paralyzed because I didn't feel any pain.
I had lost about 60% of my blood.
I turned back, and this is the North Tower collapsing.
I was told I would never walk again.
Told me that I would die if I was going to work Las Vegas, and mercilessly beat me for hours. My nose broke, my ribs broke.
Skinned alive, scorched beyond recognition.
I was just praying and trying to stay alive.
I had questions for God like, why me?
And I'm sitting right in the middle of one of the streets of New York City, wondering, God, for sure my wife is dead.
And in 20 plus years of military service, the hardest thing I've ever been asked to do is say goodbye to my son. I've got a tube in every orifice in my body, and I mean every. But I can see him walk in, and he just mouths, speaks to me, says, "I love you, Dad." And I could sit there and mouth back to him how much I loved him.
And I'd go home and I would just cry, and I would get in the shower and I would scrub my body. And I would think, I'll never, ever be clean. I knew it was over. And I saw my family. I saw my funeral. And I was in the coffin. And everybody was crying, and they were wiping their faces, and they were saying, just a prostitute. That's what I said, Jesus. Please save me. I don't know if you're real, but I don't want to die.
In that moment, I was having my "it is finished" moment. And as hard as that was, to physically and emotionally say goodbye to my son, I think about how difficult it must have been for God the Father to say goodbye to the Son for 3 days.
As I was getting into the ambulance, there was a local paramedic. He whispered in my ear and said, "God will never leave you nor forsake you." And I think that really just helped me hold it together.
It was the first time I really had that type of conversation with God. He just told me, you know, you're gonna go through fiery trials, even if I choose God, but I will give you peace and understanding.
I didn't know if I was gonna be able to surf again or not, and so that just like helped me just to trust in the Lord and know that He's just gonna guide me and life will move on.
I had to make one of the hardest decisions in my life. I would have to forgive the guy that shot me. It was embarrassing at first because everybody thought I was the weaker person because I let him do this to me and didn't get him back. But it was that peace. And with that peace, it seemed like God just started lining things up. And it was all out of me being obedient.
I knew God gave me a second chance. Yes, I was a hooker. Yes, I was a prostitute. But no longer I'm redeemed.
Dust, smoke, ash, balls of fire rising out of ground zero. I had now given up hope about my pregnant wife. My cell phone rings for the very first time that day. I picked up the call with a lot of fear, thinking that would be the worst news of my life. But when I said hello, it's my wife on the other side. A life was spared. That night, me and my wife, before we tried to get any sleep, we knelt down by a bed. I said, God, here's a surrendered life. Would you rewrite the story of my life?
What I've learned is that with God's love and with Christ in you, you can overcome any obstacle, any abuse, any hatred, any challenges in your life, and able to forgive and continue to love others like Christ loved you.
I don't look too bad for a guy who got run over by a 757.
Going like this. This is the real me, you guys. I trip out. My name is Annie Lobert.
My name is Brian Birdwell.
My name is Bethany Hamilton.
My name is Sujo John.
My name is Tyrone Flowers, and I am second.